Hey guys, so today bringing you another video. Now, welcome to a LOL dev video. So this one is all about Vanguard, but I'm actually going to be making two of these. It's worth knowing the second one that I'm going to upload will likely be on Huzzy Extra. So again, the second YouTube channel that we're active back on again. And just reminding everybody, starting September the 1st, so this upcoming, I think, Sunday, all second videos of the day will be going over to Huzzy Extra. So you'll still get 2 videos a day, but one will be on the Huzzygames, this channel, and one will be on the Huzzy Extra. The link of it will be in the description down below. Go get yourself subscribed, and remember, like, ding the bell on both channels to stay active and alert if you want to know when things are being released. But anyway, so we've had Vanguard for a little while now. So it's kind of cool that they're doing an update just to see how it goes. Now, straight away, I'll ask you guys the question, have you had any, has anything changed for you guys? Now, obviously, if you cheat, things may have changed, but a lot of people won't admit to that. I will say there definitely seems like there's less fresh level 30 accounts, and when you look into their match histories, you could always tell 95% of them if they were like botted, because they all were very basic, like intro bot level games that they weren't hiding it. There's definitely less of those accounts in general, and accounts that are fresh level 30, you look at their histories and it does kind of seem that humans are leveling them. It's not as obvious as a bot kind of pandemic. And I do think that's actually made solo queue increase in quality, because last year it was out of control. Like, it genuinely was out of control. And I remember being in games where, I'm in Master MMR and there was 7 people in the game on a fresh level 30 account that was clearly botted. It was crazy. So that to me is the biggest kind of take back. When it comes to scripting and stuff like that, we did that. If you, again, didn't watch it on Huzzy Extra a few weeks ago, a viewer of mine actually sent in a replay that he was against a scripter, and the game got cancelled by Vanguard around the 10-minute mark because it detected the jinx was scripting, and it just terminated the game. No one lost LP, and that jinx's account got permabanned. It was very interesting to watch. Scripting was always quite rare in League, but it was more common in high rating, and hilariously, the better the script, because you kind of called scripting 2 things. You called it scripting or rage scripting. Rage scripting, it was the obvious stuff, that it was a Xerath hitting every single skill shot, not human, dodging everything, no human movement. It was very obvious. That was quite rare, because obviously that's obvious, and that was still, even the old system, probably easy to kind of see and ban. Where it was getting a bit muddled was smart scripting, and there was one champion specifically that was really hard to determine if they were scripting. When it comes to you're against that champion, you can't really tell, and that was Zeri. Zeri became the scripting champion in high rating, because what people did is they didn't actually script the movement. They didn't have a dodge script. What they had was an aim script for the Q. And if you're like, oh really? Basically, an insanely good Zeri player has to do 2 things more things than a standard AD carry. A standard AD carry, its main mechanic is positioning, and then obviously then right-clicking to actually do damage. Well, Zeri has to position, obviously, but she has to aim for her auto attacks, not just right-click. So it's another level above a standard AD carry. Well, what happens if you make a script do all the aiming for the Q, but then you are doing all the movement, so you look kind of human, and then it's just a really good, to the enemy, it's like, that's a really good Zeri doing DPS while they're moving. It was actually a script doing the aiming and doing the Q. It was very common in high rating, like Master and above. Most series, I think, were near enough scripting at one stage. But anyway, let's get into it. So it's been almost 8 megaseconds since we released Vanguard for League of Legends. I don't know what that's supposed to mean or joke about. What's a megasecond? I have no idea. I would actually like to know how long it's been, but anyway. There have been several highlights and a few lowlights, and at least one Vanguard cosplayer. We're going to share the first 2 things with you now in a continuation of our steadfast attempts to become both the loudest and most transparent anti-cheat team in PC gaming. But before we do that, please consider reading the article. We obviously would have done that when that came out. So one philosophical amuse-bouche that we should get out the way is, while we're working on bettering Vanguard and LoL integration, and cheaters will keep working on their cheats, we're not going to relitigate the decision to utilize this technology. So some people, obviously, you know, it was a very small percentage, but there were people like, I'm quitting League of Legends because Vanguard's a thing and they're going to regret their decision. They're not. From my knowledge, and I had a very brief conversation with somebody in Riot like a month ago, is they did see some people leave the game, but they've actually seen more people come back because of Vanguard. So they've actually gained players because of Vanguard, not the other way around. Because again, a lot of people were really frustrated about botted account situations. Some people, even though I think it was probably blown out of proportion, I think some people are, oh, the cheaters and scripters. I think there weren't many, but some people got encouraged to come back to League because of that. So yeah, they've actually grown, I believe, not gone the other way. And obviously, I know there's a lot of people with their tinfoil hats that just are not very trusting in general. Maybe I'm just more of a trusting person, but they're not going to do anything weird. You know, I know people, the biggest thing that I heard from people was going, oh, it's Tencent owned, therefore, you know, China has the data. They don't. It's that simple. Riot is owned by Tencent, but Riot does not have to share everything with Tencent. Chinese League of Legends has a completely different anti-cheat than Vanguard. Vanguard is the Riot-based system that is only running on Riot-based servers. Like, it's a Riot thing. It's not a Tencent thing. But yeah. So all anti-cheat methods trade friction for effectiveness, and where we position ourselves on the curve demonstrates how seriously Riot takes its competitive experience. So in essence, what they're saying is there's always going to be friction between communities. There's going to be friction of, if you're having a very intense anti-cheat, then obviously you're intending to give friction towards the cheating community, but that friction will a little bit rub off the innocent people thinking, oh, I've got to have this quite, you know, some people will say spyware now on my PC, but I don't cheat. But that's the thing. If you don't cheat and you're not doing like anything nefarious when it comes to League of Legends, Vanguard's not looking into that, you know. I remember having a weird comment, I think, at the time, but some people were like, oh, if you do anything a bit dodgy, or you have an odd kink, let's say, and you have pictures or something on your PC, Vanguard is like, it's honestly like, even though that's a bit weird, it's not looking for that. It's looking for cheats in League of Legends or in Valorant if you play that game. Like, it's, I know some people are, you know, if you're in doing some weird things, you're going to have trust issues nonetheless. But if you're an innocent person in all regards and you're not cheating in League, you're all fine. Yeah. But anyway, the free-to-play model encounters too many unwinnable problems where bans can't stick to bad actors, including behaviors like feeding, toxicity, and boosting. It's okay if kernel anti-cheat just isn't your bag, but we're not going to wait around for the PC platform to offer security features sufficient to support the games we want to make. Until that day, we generally believe that effective anti-cheat is the best way to keep leagues thriving. And yeah, that's the inherent problem with a free-to-play model, is there's always going to be bad actors in any game. Hell, there's bad actors in paid games, less of them, because there's that inherent paywall that you have to pay to play. And if you're getting banned by doing something dodgy, you're wasting your money, because then you're going to buy it again and again and again. Where League of Legends is free. So, you know, to a lot of people, whatever reason, they feel the need that they can do bad behavior, and if they get banned for it, they don't care. They just go again and again and again, and they don't change their behavior. They don't turn off their script if that's what they want to do. But obviously, it's a detriment to the rest of the community, you know, the 99.9% of the people. So having an anti-cheat is the best way to do that. So I agree with that. But yeah, anyway, let's get into it. So how is it going? So like with any decent sandwich, here at Vanguard, we put the bread on top. I will say, and I've said this before, I kind of do, when I love these dev things, but they need to get rid of the stupid language. I just want to, like, and I know they're doing it to try and make it a better read. I'm a data guy. Like, I did a computer science degree. My dissertation was all about data analysis. Like, I want data. I don't want funny sandwich jokes. But anyway, in regard, updating LoL's anti-cheat has achieved a great many of initial goals, some to the degree that several people have even considered releasing Vanguard 2. Okay, no one thought that. And anti-cheat updates are about as fun as putting gloves on a cat. There have been several immediate wins from bringing LoL's anti-cheat system to the Sentry that probably aren't to be surprised. Okay, so our first data. So fewer. This is about scripting. Okay, so how do we interpret the data? So this is when obviously Vanguard got turned on. Okay, so the scripting rate. Oh, that's very interesting. Okay, so this is January this year, and the scripting rate of the game in general was just below 4%. Presumably, yeah, percentage of games that had a scripter was just below 4%, which is actually quite a high amount. Now, the one thing I do want to make known, I don't know if they're going to make it obvious here. When it comes to scripting, is botted accounts, like, you know, bots that are leveling up in a intro game, that's technically scripting. Are they including that in the data? Because if they're not, just under 4% is a lot of games. If it is including that, that makes a bit more sense. So beginning of this year, just below 4%. The peak of it, as you can probably see here, was just before Vanguard's release. Now, this is where I would imagine it does include botted accounts, because what were obviously botted accounts doing, and people that had bot farms, they ramped up their production. You can literally see the production is ramping up of getting these accounts leveled, so they have inventory that if in case it does get worse and worse and worse, that they can still try and sell accounts. It is worth knowing, I am very aware that obviously you can see here the trend of scripting is going down. Yeah, it's getting a lot harder to run bot farms for League of Legends. So it's worth knowing, make sure your League of Legends account is secure by having a very good password and also two-step authentication enabled. They are what they used to do. They are going for people's accounts again. They are going to try and get your account of League of Legends and sell that. If they can't make botted accounts as easily, they need inventory, these people. They're going to go for normal players' accounts that aren't bot leveled so they can sell them. So be secure. So it's worth knowing. So Pac-Man was their old model. Manual scripting, I have no idea what manual scripting technically means. Vanguard hardware, Vanguard scripting, and presumably like there were specific days of peaks or something. Maybe they saw, you know, in 1 or 2 days there was a vulnerability, and obviously it gets patched. But you can kind of see where we are, you know, the beginning of this month, August, it is less than 0.5% from, well, near 6% at its peak. So it's definitely going in the right direction, which is pretty cool. So the percentage of ranked games with at least one script. Oh, wow. No, this is even bigger than that then. This is the percentage of ranked games with at least one scripter in them, and bans issued explicitly for scripting in competitive play. Huh. That's huge, by the way. So this is not including the bot leveling counts. So why would there be a ramp up? So obviously Vanguard got announced it's happening probably around here. Why would people start scripting more? To get to ranks before Vanguard got enabled, is my guess. Wow, so that's even bigger. So less than 0.5% of ranked games in League of Legends now has a scripter in it. Ooh. Oh, and this is daily accounts banned. Right, okay, so over 10,000 accounts are banned on one day. That would have been a ban wave. So obviously every now and then they do ban waves, just to again make it very clear, why do Riot do ban waves instead of, you know, constantly ban? And they do constantly ban, but ban waves are also effective. Now, the reason why they do a ban wave is basically, it's worth knowing, every major cheat organization when it comes to League of Legends, Riot will be in those, you know, as customers. They will buy them, they will be able to reverse engineer the script, and that is a good way to see what's going on. But obviously the cheaters are constantly developing as well, and what basically Riot will be doing is looking for that, you know, the cheaters go, hey, we found a vulnerability, everybody now buy this, and they're all buying it, and then bam, on one day all of their accounts get banned, and it absolutely wipes the cheat like mad. Because if you're constantly banning, you basically create, well, you want to basically make a lazy developer with the cheaters. That, okay, guys, we've not actually had any major big bans of any of our cheats in 3 months. Everybody buy it. Everybody, like, we're safe. And it basically makes them not probably develop the next round of cheats as quick. So then you do a massive ban wave, and then when everyone goes, hey, we need a new one, they're not ready because they've been a bit lazy because they thought they were safe. It's kind of a cat and mouse kind of thing. It's very interesting. But anyway, Sorry, this topic really does interest me. The first and foremost victory here is there are far fewer cheaters in the game now. Above is LoL's ranked scripting rate graph alongside daily anti-cheat ban volume and bucketed base on the system in which the ban originated. So Pac-Man, the old one, Vanguard is the new one. A significant portion of the immediate reduction in scripters is due to Vanguard's preventative features, but as might be evident from the manifestation of the hardware ban category. Further reductions have been accomplished through detecting cheaters that heroically still try to cheat post Vanguard, bravely sacrificing all their accounts to see if the anti-cheat had a ban limit. It didn't. So if they had 10 accounts, maybe they thought, oh, it only banned 5 of them. No, it banned all of them. It's also worth knowing, which was very funny, in this ban wave, yeah, hardware ID bans worked, and hardware ID spoofers didn't work. So, you know, like people go, oh, Vanguard's useless because you're just going to run a hardware ID spoofer. It kind of hides your serial numbers so they can't ban out your hardware. They didn't work. So there, honestly, all the leaks of the Discord servers, of the forums, of cheaters, it was so funny. Because they were all getting banned. They tried to play on another account. That was banned because it detected you're on the same hardware that was banning, even though they were using a hardware ID spoofer. It was glorious. But anyway, so since the release of Vanguard, we have banned over 175,000 accounts for cheating. But more importantly, our ranked scripting rate fell below 1% for the first time in nearly 4 years. As of the time of writing, only 1 in every 200 ranked games is played with a scripter, and I figure it's finally safe to complete my placement games. I'll be sure to land in Iron 2 with a crisp 10% win rate, but at least for now, I'll only have Zed's entire existence as a champion to blame. Wow. We're getting into bots in a second. So the most recent spike in ban throughput on July 8th was the direct result of a little something Riot likes to call summer break. And our returning from it was accompanied by a sudden burst in raw anti-cheat energy, nuking 35,000 scripters in just under 48 hours. While many were stunned that anti-cheaters even needed to sleep, please be assured that most of us are nearly 100% detectably human. We too love simple pleasure. So what they're saying, I guess, is like, what, they went on holiday. Obviously, Riot summer break is always in July. So because they couldn't be manually there, I guess, there was a little bit of an uptick. And then when they came back from summer break, bam, they banned 35,000, I guess. I don't know. Anyway. Whoa! Wow, look at that. Now that is what we call a cliff for botted games. So LOL botting game hours. So game hours wasted in 1,000, by the way. So in its peak of obviously botted games, there was in essence nearly 1,000 hours wasted per day when it came to bots playing the game. And obviously, in terms of like people go, what does that even mean? Like, what do you mean wasted? As they're saying here, that costs Riot money. Server costs. Like, they are paying for server hours. So when bots are flooding them, leveling up all new level 30 accounts, it's costing money to Riot because they're actually having to host the servers. They're paying for those servers. So the raw number of botting hours broken down by queue in which the game occurred, you'd be correct to assume that I used hours here so that the executives could more immediately feel the impact in the deepest fold of their wallets. So other is the very small number. So AI obviously is the biggest example here in most cases. So that is complete AI is just botting an account, leveling an account in most likely what used to be intro games. Normal was normal queue. So some bots, and it was kind of a thing that some people didn't want to buy a botted account that was just clearly leveled in intro games. It's too obvious. So they'll just have a bot level in normal games. And people actually said, like, I remember being on Reddit and kind of going, my friend's getting into the game, he's playing normal games, and there's 5 bots on the enemy team. That's that. So that's basically, these are the very obvious scripting accounts of botted in intro leveling games. These are the same botted accounts, but they're leveling them in normal games to be a little bit less obvious, even though they were still very obvious. Where obviously that has gone down a massive cliff. And you can still see that, you know, they're trying, they're not wanting to give up. There's little upticks every now and then is them trying to go, guys, we need accounts. And you can see here that you can, like, they're still trying basically all methods. Here they mainly tried, right, we'll try just do normal games because maybe it's too obvious doing them intro, and then hell, even nearby here, right, let's just go for intro and see if that works again. So they're trying, they're not giving up, but this is a huge factor. Right, so our second graph is a look at how many game hours bots have wasted this year. Botting and scripting software is similar, so we deconflict the two offensive primarily throughout the performance of the player and the game client, i.e. bots die to tower and play at high-powered maximum of 9 FPS. Wow. In the native data tongue, it should sound something like this. Okay. So yeah, they can basically look at the client's resolution. If the resolution is below 1,000 and if the FPS is averaging 15, it's a bot, and they can group those all together. But if a actual player is scripting, they'll likely be above that, which is very interesting. That's a very smart way of detecting it. For those that are like, why the hell are they playing at 9 FPS? Because they're on bot farms running multiple instances on a same device, that if you, let's say, are playing right now and you lock your FPS at 144, it's not perfect science, but let's just say out of 144, you could be running 10 instances of League of Legends on your same PC, but running them at 10 FPS each, when obviously that's a lot better for a bot farm. That's very interesting. Wow. Okay. So anyways, Vanguard's virtual machine technique. So this is what people are saying is you're just going to run a virtual machine. You're just going to run in a hard, ID spoof or anything like this. Put a pretty hefty dent in the average programmable coffee maker's ability to brew a League of Legends session, dropping total hours spent botting from north of 100 million a day. 100 million hours a day. 1 million hours a day to less than 5,000 hours per day. Wow, that's insane. Many botting farms are struck with lasting emotional turmoil, and if you played co-op versus AI, you may have actually seen them standing in your fountain having deep introspective thoughts. Wow. This rapid onset of bot paralysis. So they basically got into the games, but like couldn't do anything because Vanguard was like, no, and then they probably just got banned. That's insane. So as you may have seen, this rapid onset of bot paralysis was the simple result of their not running Vanguard. So no Vanguard session, no connection to the server, which is interesting. Some bots have tried to trickle back to old OSX VMs, but that's something we're saving for the dessert. So just to explain, what does that mean? Sorry, again, it's a bit technical. So OSX VMN, so basically Mac OS. So Mac as in Apple, their operating system, and a virtual machine is a VM. So a virtual machine is basically a fake PC as a software spoof on a normal hardware like PC. So you're basically tricking, you could be running 10 VMs on one PC, and each of those 10 VMs could be running its own instance of League of Legends. That's how bot farms work. And because they can't now do this on Windows, they obviously, a lot of people have even said, is like, oh, they're just going to move to Mac. Well, that doesn't seem to be going good for them. But anyway, so it says shortly after release Vanguard, we also cleaned up 3.5 million bot accounts that haven't been sold. That's a lot of stock. And the idea there is to slowly dehydrate the market for secondary accounts. Bots are a big part of the engine that powers competitive LoL abuse, both for supplying boosters with new smurfs on which to queue alongside their customers, which again, because duo queue boosting is technically legal, and also supplying scripters with new accounts to play, which again, they're not really playing, but still. I'm actually not sure you can call either of these things playing League of Legends, so we'll want to stay extremely vigilant on smart toasters to maximize the misery per second on our others' punishments. Very interesting. So when it comes to this kind of Mac OS, they've probably got an announcement at the end. Faster bans. So you may experience the fleeting moment of relief at the prospect that I've abandoned the insufferable sandwich metaphor. Oh, God. But like all struggling writers, I wrestle with my artistic commitment to the literary and nutritional mediums. So these graphs can be considered the mayonnaise, and a lot like actual mayonnaise, they're the entire point of the sandwich. Yeah. So time to action. Games given up. Delay in days. Time to action. Okay. So time to action is on the left, time to detection is on the right. Okay. So the beginning of the year, and that would have been on Pac-Man, the old system. Let me actually see. You can see my mouse. So games given up, which I presume they're basically saying it took their language is a bit odd, I guess, but they're saying in this instance at the beginning of January, it took 31 games to find a cheater in ranked that they could play 30 odd games and then hopefully action occurred. It got over 50 at one point. Presumably that's not supposed to be a 50, that's probably supposed to be, well, again, their scaling is weird. That's probably a 40, and that's supposed to be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So at the maximum, which was in March, 45 games before an account got banned. That's a lot, by the way. With how quick you can rank up nowadays, like especially at the beginning of the year, obviously it's got a bit harsher in Split 2. You could be easily high diamond in 45 games if you're winning 90+% being a cheater. Interesting. So let's see what they're saying here so we can actually get like a proper explanation. So time to action left is measured in games and time to detection right is measured in days. The former is more of a measure of how swiftly we're removing bad actors, and the latter examines the speed at which we're able to ship detections for known cheats. It's important to note that detecting something does not immediately indicate we are banning for it, which is true. As I said, sometimes they wait and do a ban wave. So this is the average number of days to detect new assets. So for example, if there's a new cheat on the market, it used to take upward of 2 weeks, even up to nearly 3 weeks, or it was 3 weeks, to detect that, which is quite a long time. Now, at current, where we are around here, it's taking 1 to 2 days to basically detect a new cheat. So that's basically, again, when these people are trying to make constant new cheats, where before they had a 3-week gap before Riot even detected it. Now they have 2 days before Riot detect it. Obviously, that doesn't mean they're going to ban it, because they might wait to do a ban wave, but that's kind of mad. That's very impressive. So above on the left is our primary anti-cheat KPI called time to action, and it can be interpreted simply as the number of games a cheater is able to play on their account is merged with reality. It's also worth knowing how many can they play right now. Less than 10. So it got all the way down to about 4 to 5. I don't know why it's gone back up to near 9. Weird. But again, less than 10 is good. It'd be good if it's, less than 5 that they don't even complete placements. And hell, it would be even better as they get none. The first game they go in, they get detected. But we'll see. It's a measurement of how long a cheat. Sorry, I skipped to. We're on this one. Okay, so it can be interpreted as the amount of games a cheater is able to play on their account is merged with a reality in which it can never existed. It's again, I don't care about anything. It's basically, it's a ban. Due to in part to our no longer needing to rely on LoL's update cadence, Vanguard has significantly expedited the process of removing scriptings from League of Legends. Our time to action has fallen from 45+ games to less than 10, and even in that small delay, most deliberate to slow realizations from developers that we have them surrounded. So as I mentioned, sometimes you've detected it, you know what's going on, and you don't ban it on purpose to basically surprise the devs that are doing it. So that's all very good. It's worth knowing. To that effect, the graph on the right is a glance on the other side of the coin. Tied to detection is a measurement how long a cheat or an update to one is able to hide in the LoL ecosystem before detection. For it is written on a scroll and burned in tribute to the sentient Vanguard cloud. We can estimate this by looking at the oldest age in days of the account plus hardware combinations identified for the first time when the new detection is committed, when it likely first appeared. We're extremely fast right now, but as cheats move underground or become more advanced, it will take us longer to find and create detections for them. This is the delicate balancing act of anti-cheat. We cannot over-prioritize actions without also expediting cheater updates and slowing our detections. It's worth knowing that they said kind of here, by the way, where their old system Pac-Man, it was tied to patches in League of Legends. It was tied to every 2 weeks there's a patch. Okay, you can do an update to Pac-Man then, and that's when you can ban people for doing a cheat. Vanguard's not tied to that because Vanguard, as you all probably can tell, is a separate bit of software that's running on your PC. It's not tied to League of Legends perfectly. You can update that every day if you wanted to. So that's, again, it's how they can be a bit quicker. So on other interesting changes. Oh, interesting. So this is scripting win rate deltas. So how much more a cheater wins on average. So if the delta is 0% of an average person, a cheater always has got a benefit. So their plus is always more than 0. So there you go. And it's worth knowing, again, presumably these are the different colors of ranks. Again, I'm colorblind, so I'm not the best with this. I think that's gold. So at one stage, a gold scripter had a 20% better win rate than even the average player in gold. That's pretty crazy. And then the other thing is total champion win rates. Oh, snap! So pre-Vanguard, post-Vanguard. Okay. So obviously there's a bunch of famous scripting champions here. Again, there's Zeri, by the way. So Cogmore, again, very famous scripting champion in history of League. And it's worth knowing this is just win rate for all Diamond Plus players. This isn't saying these all players scripted. It's just noticing that all the champions, apart from Ezreal, that were known scripting champions, all of them, their win rate has gone down. Is that a coincidence? One champion I'd say that seems to be missing from that is Xerath. Xerath obviously was a very famous scripting champion. So yeah, Cogmore's win rate has gone down. Twitch's, Karthus's, Severe's, Vayne's, Samira's, there's the Zeri, Ezreal, and Callista. It is worth knowing because people are like, oh, if Zeri was like the most popular high rating, why is a win rate not higher and higher? Hilariously, the higher rating you go, it is harder for a scripter to win because sometimes a scripter, well, the player as a scripter is a bad player, and even with scripting, they're not as good as high rating players. Like, that's the problem. But yeah, so that Zeri Delta might look juicy, but as a reminder, cheating is a one-way ticket to Ban City, where the tax rate is 100% of your yearly accounts. So the above dashboard is monitoring the 9 most popular scripting champions for any changes that may have resulted from Vanguard's deployment. And because a variable buffet of mouse clicks is something scripts can serve faster than a human, the majority of them are AD carries. Surprise, surprise, the role that is about positioning and right-clicking the most. The timeline on the left is how much more a champion wins when they're cheating than when they're not, as the delta in ranked win rate between scripters and normal players. And the graph on the right is the same champion's total win rate measured 60 days before and 60 days after Vanguard. To ensure a competitive sample, all games included here are ones in which the player on the identified champion was rated platinum or above. The joyous thing one can observe from allowing photons to bounce off the graphs into your retinas is cheaters are getting slightly worse. There's a wide variety of factors at play here, but the MVP is Vanguard, making it extremely annoying to use internal cheats without opting directly into a detectable pattern, resulting in many cheaters pivoting to either playing manually or settling for cheats on the external variety. As that title implies, these cheats don't have the luxury of reading game memory, so they get all their data by reading the screen and attempt to submit input to the cheater's behalf. So they're just not as good. So it's basically reading the monitor. Like, literally, it's a cheat that's looking at what we're looking at and then making decisions off, like, at kind of the same time when it comes to a human. But that's the thing. A lot of these players who are using these cheats, they are bad players. That's why they're scripting. So even though they're bad cheats, they're still probably better than the player is naturally at the game. So that's why the player still uses them, even though they're bad cheats, because they're probably just an absolutely terrible League of Legends player. But they're obviously nowhere near as good as memory reading internal kernel level cheats. So additionally, the reduction in scripters and the reduction in scripting efficiency, or effective, some of these words, like Jesus Christ, appear to be affecting even overall win rates for the scripting poster children. It's hard to control for things like balance changes, seasonal resets, and counter picks falling into favor, but some percentage of these decrease are due to cheaters having difficulty keeping accounts in Diamond. Puts a real spring in my step when I think about it. Oh my god, that's crazy. That's so, like, honestly, I've only run, and I like to be open and honest about it. I also have a rum and coke. Hopefully you're drinking too. I will open and honest say I've only cheated, you know, forget PlayStation 2, L1RB, Spawner Jet in GTA. I've used one, what you'd call script, and it was not in terms of any competitive variety. And I like to be open about it because I think openly, you know, being honest is the best policy. I would never use it in a PvP setting because that's not playing the game. The only time I ever used the script was in RuneScape. It was mining. So I had 399s in RuneScape, and I did defense at 99. I did fishing at 99. I did both of them myself. I had like attack at 94 and strength at 93, I think. I was combat level like 121 or something like that. And mining was just one that I don't know, at the time, I was probably about 14. I was really bored, but I wanted 99 mining. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to run a script. One of my friends did it, and that's usually the case. And it was not an advanced script. It didn't, you know, you have to remember this is like early 2000s, so things were very simple. And all it was a recording mouse program that you basically first had to do it by recording your own mouse, and then it would do it again. So I basically recorded an input of going to a mining place, mining a bunch, then going to the bank, depositing it, then going back to the mining place. That's the only time I've ever cheated in a game, like in terms of that type of behavior. And the hilarious thing, and I just tell it because it's a funny story, the software wasn't very good, and every few rotations, the mouse would actually move slightly to the left or the right. So after about 10 rotations, it was out of sync. You actually had to then record it again. So like where you'd like to just leave it on the whole day and then bro your 99 mining, you couldn't even do that. It was terrible. But yeah, so when it comes to PvP games, to me, the biggest thing that I want to know, and it's if you watch my videos on a regular, you know it's what I value more than anything. I want to feel like I beat them because of skill, and I want to feel outskilled. You can't ever have that mentality if you cheat in a PvP game. You're not beating them. Like, I've never openly spoke to someone who is a scripter, but I just don't get it. There's no reward for it. It's a very fictitious, like it's fake, like there's no substance from it. And I do know, and I can't remember how I learned this, it might even be from a rioter, that a lot of them are young, like me playing RuneScape at 14. A friend did it. A lot of it is like that. A lot of it is young people, and it's the pressure of trying to fit in and feel cool, that a lot of them could be high schoolers and their friend is Emerald. Oh, I want to be better than that. But let's say they suck at League, how can they do it? Well, that's a lot of the customers who buy accounts or use scripts or get boosted. That's a lot of those customers. It's a young person feeling pressured. They want to feel cool. They want to fit in. And it's the weirdest thing that a lot of the time they still suck at the game. So when they go and their friends go, oh my God, you're diamond and I'm, you know, plat, let's play. They say no, they don't play with their friends. If you've ever had a friend like that, I remember hilariously in our community, we had someone like that. Can't remember his name. But we had someone like that in the community, and I remember Gals, you know, one of our mods, one of my good online friends, he is a support main, and the guy was an AD carry guy. So whenever we did viewer games, he was the AD carry, and Galzuk was always the support. And Galzuk straight up said to me numerous times, like, this is not a diamond player. It's just not. Gals was a diamond support. He knows what a diamond AD carry player was. And it took a few months, but then we basically were like, bro, like, what is going on here? And yeah, he admitted to, I think, getting boosted or cheating or buying out, one of the three, and he just admitted to it. Like, he just wasn't a diamond player, and I think he was like silver. And it's like, because he wanted, you know, I'm playing in a Huzzy game and I'm a diamond player, I fit in. I think a lot of it is that. And the problem is you're not that player. Fundamentally, you're not fooling people. You're just not that player. If you're someone that's bought an account or got boosted or scripted, and you're so cool around your friends and you can say I'm diamond, but every time that they go, let's play then, and you say no, they are thinking something. They don't think you're probably diamond, even though you have a diamond account. Having the account doesn't mean you're that player, as we all know. Anyway, sorry, bit of a tangent. So minimal false positives. So one of the negatives of any anti-cheat is false positives can happen. I also have a very interesting story when it comes to a false positive. I'll tell that story after we read this. So, all new anti-cheat can run the risk of flagging software assets that look like cheats, usually malware or cheats for other games. But luckily, Vanguard isn't that new. It turned 4 this year because obviously it was started with Valorant. As the final piece of the bread, this sandwich, whatever, we will examine Vanguard's false positive rate. Okay, so you've got account compromise, shared hardware, and false positive. So the false positive rate is basically an innocent person who has been detected and probably action has been taken upon them. I have had one of this myself, not with League of Legends, but you can see here when Vanguard got launched, 0.02% was a false positive. No false positives. 0.01%, and we're now back to 0% of false positives. Which is interesting. Obviously, shared hardware would indicate, oh, my account is all legit, but say your two brothers, which they're saying here, is if you share a computer with your brother and he scripts and you don't, but you're playing on the same PC, but he turns on the scripts, but again, your account is still under, unfortunately, even though you're not scripting, you're sharing a bit of hardware that with somebody that is scripting. So there's not a lot Riot can do about that, I'd imagine. But it goes, it's worth mentioning that my brother's pet iguana installed scripts on my computer is not currently accepted for a valid excuse for cheating, but based on the frequency that we receive it, we're beginning to have concerns that Godzilla franchise could be prophetic. God damn it. So basically, I see. So on the axis above is showing the percentage of Vanguard suspicions reverse bars, bucketed based on the underlying reason for the unban. And on the right axis is the same breakdown examining the average amount of time those accounts spent suspended. So these are percentage of bans that have been reversed. And then this is the time to resolution, how long it took. So roughly it seems about 2 to 3 weeks. If your account gets banned, there is a resolution from about 2 weeks. And basically what they're saying is 0.02% of people did get unbanned because they did determine it was a false positive with the ban. Obviously, then 0% of people got unbanned, 0% of people got unbanned because it's probably just more accurate now. Shared, this is right, okay. The shared hardware, interesting. Okay, so number one is the account was stolen, not deliberately shared at the time detecting was done. So this is number one. So the vast majority of these unbans, which go to about near 1% at maximum, this was an account that was stolen, hacked, whatever you want to call it. And a lot of the time, and as I said to you at the beginning of this video, make sure your accounts are safe, because these bot farms that they can't do as many now are the same companies that a lot of them are doing the script selling, and they a lot of the time have the same customer base. They will be trying to sell your League of Legends account to the cheaters. So if your account is sold, it will then likely end up in a cheater's hands playing with scripts, and then it will just get banned. So they are reversing the bans if it is determined it was, your account was compromised at the time. Number two is a used PC gaming market. So obviously with used PC parts, you do run the inherent risk of you don't know technically what the person was doing with that bit of hardware before you bought it. And hardware ID bans are such a thing that obviously if you're buying a GPU from somebody, but that GPU serial ID is banned, then you then can't play that game. It's worth knowing. That's kind of how I got banned in Call of Duty, but it's not because I bought something used, but I'll tell you the story in a second. And then, yeah, false positives are very rare, but they have happened a bit. So let's just, they're basically just saying here, by the way, don't share your account, don't reuse passwords, and please enable MFA. So just to tell the story very quickly about how I got banned from Call of Duty, it's when I was playing a lot of Warzone, and I got banned, and I was like, what the hell? And I was quite emotional about it, because again, I've never cheated in a PvP game. I wouldn't do that, because the whole fun for me in PvP games is knowing that I've beat somebody because of me. and if I get beat, then I get beat because of them. Get very annoyed if, again, I get killed. I've obviously experienced a lot more cheating in Call of Duty than I ever really have in League of Legends, and I got banned, and there was nothing I could do. I submitted tickets, and they were so dismissive, and they just said, no, you're banned. That is it. And I had to submit tickets because basically in the Call of Duty system at the time, you could do one kind of like, hey, I'm this isn't fair. Look into my case. They looked into it. They said, no, you're still banned. And I was like, this is insane, because I knew I was innocent, right? And it was very annoying because at the time I was actually streaming a bit of Call of Duty as well. And this is where it does get bad, is I only got unbanned because I went and spoke to like an influencer manager at Call of Duty. And I was like, I'm not just doing this because I'm a influencer or a content creator. I genuinely didn't cheat, and I'm now banned from your game. And that's a game that I play with my friends. I don't even make content for it. I stream it occasionally, but I'm like, hello? He's like, right, I'll get them to look into it for you. The next day I was unbanned, and I also received the reasoning why it even happened, because I was like, what the hell happened? Is it just going to happen again? Hilariously, it did happen again. And basically what happened is, and this is the explanation I got, I don't know how concrete it is one of the bits of the hardware in my PC has a serial number that is shared with somebody that has cheated. And he said, the influencer manager said, it's not, like, we're sponsored by Apex, they built my PC. It's not them. It's not, basically it's the hardware manufacturers trying to cut corners upon manufacturing PCs. That instead of giving every single, GPU, every single bit of RAM a separate serial number, the next 10,000, they can all just share the same serial number. That's fine. That's basically what happened. So I don't honestly know how many people would have been affected by that. I still don't know what component obviously was the problem, but that's what happened, is a cheater with the same serial number as one of the parts of my PC got banned for cheating. So they flagged everybody with obviously that serial number because of hardware ID, and that banned me. And then about a month later, it happened again, and I got banned again. And I just had to go to him like, it's happened again, bro. And he basically had to like whitelist my Activision or Battle.net account to never get banned again. And I don't even play Call of Duty anymore. But yeah, that was crazy. So that is one of the negatives of this type of thing. If hardware manufacturers cut corners, it could screw more people over. And that's the thing. I do sympathize, because if you are someone that is truly innocent, I know what that feels like. If I wasn't a content creator, I would still be banned right now from Call of Duty. That's the only reason I got to reach out to somebody to properly look into my case. Because my official appeal, got denied. Because let's be honest, they didn't look into it enough. They probably went, it's a hardware ID that's cheating, a hardware ID that's, banned. Yeah, you're guilty. But it took a bit of more leverage to be like, hey, what's going on? They looked into it and they actually saw that problem. So, yeah, there are problems with it, but still. So we only consider a real false positive to be the last condition, which is this one. So an account that was banned for an asset or behavior that is not explicitly cheating for League of Legends, which I guess my one would have been counted to this, is I did no action that was not cheating in League of Legends. I just had what turned out I had the same hardware ID as someone that did ban, but that's not my problem. So I guess my ban in Call of Duty would have been number 3, which is their only official false positive ban reason. So better still, the average duration of any of the sort of instance accounts were suspended was less than 72 hours. So if you were false positive, they're saying that most of those people were unbanned in 72 hours. We also had to tune a few rules at launch to better accommodate LoL's atypical patterns of playing other games simultaneously, but it's been relatively smooth sailing since. We remain extremely committed to the accuracy of our punitive or punishnative, whatever word you want to use, actions, and we continually re-review Vanguard's rules to minimize collateral damage. All that said, cheaters still need more accounts to cheat on, so the stolen account case remains far and away the most common. So again, that's why the most common unban is your account got stolen and then they cheated on it. While player support makes occasional one-time exceptions for accounts that were obviously compromised, sometimes it's impossible to tell who originally owned an account, especially when it's deliberately shared over long periods of time. Putting Vanguard on League has alerted many account co-owners to a comrade's cheating activities, but there's not much we can do when two or more players have claims to an account. Yeah, basically just never share an account. I think it was probably, weird that Riot even was like, wait, there's more people that share accounts than we first thought. I don't really get why you'd share an account. Just have your own account. Tougher topics. Anything that we really get? I don't think there's like anything major. Okay, I'm only going to go into the topics that I'm personally interested in. Because obviously this video is getting on a bit, and it is quite technical. And I think we've covered most of what we wanted to know. Cheating is definitely on the down, which is great. But it's worth knowing they are trying to steal more accounts, so make sure your account is secure. The big thing I want to hear is that was a weird noise. I would say, yeah, this FPS drops, because I've heard some people have said that. So there are several third-party applications, mods, overlays, or passive benchmarking tools that sometimes can flippantly try to open read handles or set hooks for notifications on certain events within the LoL client. And now that the game is protected by Vanguard, these operations will inevitably fail. We outright don't want things interfering with the game, so the blocking behavior is 100% intended. However, the way certain apps wrap Windows operation failing can range from some silently ignoring the problem to repeatedly trying to do it again without any delay whatsoever, something that is almost impossible to address on our side. So basically, if you have a software that is trying to read something within League of Legends, but Vanguard is blocking it, it could cause FPS lag because it's constantly trying to do it. Now, again, if it is an official program that is supported by Riot and is using the right API officially, that's fine, because Vanguard will be letting that through. But it's basically non-official things, I would imagine. So if you know what application is to blame, it doesn't already have allow listing mechanisms for adding LOL exe exemptions. You can prevent its attempt to manipulate LOL exe yourself by following that code. TMP 2.0, again, I don't have Windows 11, so I've not had to enable this. But yeah, some players, had to go in their BIOS to enable it, which I know for some people is probably a bit of an annoying thing. You have to go into your BIOS, which is a very scary place. You can literally brick your PC if you do things wrong, and a lot of people have never been in their computer BIOS before. So I know that probably is a bit scary, but yeah, I'm actually probably going to upgrade my PC to Windows 11 pretty soon. So yeah, I probably will have to enable TMP2. Well, I will have to enable it if it's currently not enabled. I think it might be, or maybe it's not. I don't know. Again, Windows 10 doesn't obviously have it by default. But anyway, hardware interactions. I did hear that there might have been one keyboard that was not good with it. But yeah, but I think basically what happened in that instance is basically a cheater was trying to load a cheat through the driver of the keyboard, and then Riot had, Vanguard detected the keyboard driver as bad, so then it blocked the driver. So anybody using that same driver, that same keyboard, obviously ran into problems. But I think they quickly patched it because they worked out what the hell happened. So yeah, I think we're okay though. Boosting detection. What's this? So boosting refers to the behavior of deliberately playing with or on low-rated accounts for the purpose of increasing their ranked standing. Detection is something the anti-cheat team has not touched since 2018, and we're extremely excited about now having the fingerprinting technology sufficient to tackle it once more. Wow, okay. We plan to focus the majority of our efforts here on detecting boosters queuing with customers on freshly de-ranked Smurfs, and will reward those accounts with bans lasting the rest of the season. Layer 1. Players that repeatedly queue with boosters affecting these punishments will also receive a similar vacation. So where right now everyone said, oh, duo queue boosting is legal, Riot is going to say no longer. So if you are queuing with boosters, you will also be subject to a ban. So should any brave enough fully share their account with a boosting service, it will similarly be detected as a smurf under layer 1, effectively closing the loop. Now, again, a smurf is not the same as boosting. They're not getting rid of smurfs here. They're getting rid of the boosting element of it's okay if you have your level of your own account and you just want your own account and you're ranking up your own account. That's fine. You're playing as a solo player. That's all good. What they don't want is it's a botted account that's been deranked and now you're playing with an iron player and you're dual queuing them and suddenly they're in gold or plat when they're an iron player. They don't want that. Obviously, as well, if you're a bad league player in iron and you're like, I don't accept this, I'm better than this, even though I can't get there myself, I'm going to pay a boosting company to be on my account, and they play on my account to a rating that I can never get, yeah, you're just going to get banned as well. So there you go. So there's a lot of work left on this one, but we plan to have it banging on 8 out of 8 cylinders next summer. So that will be for next summer, is them tackling boosting properly. And this is Vanguard 2 is the Mac integration. So like they said earlier on, is some of the cheaters have, you know, and even people that were critical of Vanguard saying, oh, they're just going to move to Vanguard or, you know, Mac OS. Apparently not. Well, maybe they have now, but obviously not to a big part. And right, it's bringing Vanguard to Mac. So hilariously, imagine if the cheating people and the bot farms have all now invested thousands into Mac products. They're now going to be just wasting that money because Vanguard's coming to Mac. It's going to be interesting how to do it, though. But yeah, as we are getting into the botting section, some cheaters have begun pivoting to Mac OS VMs in an effort to free themselves from the Vanguard requirement. This move was about as unexpected as syrup on pancakes. Yeah, right, expected it, obviously. So we're pleased to announce that Vanguard's companion product, Embedded Vanguard, MVG by short, is coming soon to a Mac build near you. The unique security of macOS environment allows us to be a little less stringent on defending its kernel. And because basically, you know, some people say you don't need even anti-cheat on a Mac because Mac is actually a very highly secured OS as it is. I obviously have a MacBook. That's my main laptop that I use when I'm using my laptop. I have a Mac. I have a, what do I have? A Mac Air 2nd gen, or the second chip. It's very good for what it is. But anyway, so the unique security of the Mac OS, so as the name implies, this won't require any extra installs. The security is embedded right into the game client. So further still, we're actually already using MVG to great effect on Valorant console and on Wild Rift. There you go. So it's a very similar thing to that. So once it ships at the end of this year, we hope the final blow to bots and the 2 public scripting suite developers. Oh, hang on. They're actually calling out people here. So wait, once it ships at the end of the year, we hope it will be the final blow to bots and to the 2 public scripting suite developers that are now grappling with the realization they wasted 3 months on porting cheats to OS X. Don't worry too much though. Swift looks great in the resume, dude. That's a major call out. They are literally calling out those those two development companies that are public facing, and just saying, yeah, we knew what you were doing. Sorry. That's so funny. But there we go. Wow, that's kind of interesting. A lot of positive things. So for me so far, you know, when people are saying, oh, is Vanguard even worth it? I think so. I think they are kind of highlighting it's going quite well. Like, look at this major drop off of botted games alone. This is insane. Wow. But anyway, that's gonna be it. Long video, hour long. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. My voice is hurting now. But if you are enjoying the content and you enjoy this as a kind of cool extra video, do throw a like on it. Let me know what you think down below. Wow, that's crazy. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace. Call down!